They say a man's strength is proven not when everything goes his way, but when the one who once meant everything walks away, and he doesn't crumble. When a woman stops valuing you, most people assume the story ends there. They think her silence means freedom, her distance means peace, and her detachment means she's truly over you. But that's not the truth, not even close. Beneath the surface, something deeper is happening. Even when she acts like you're irrelevant, her pride is still watching, her ego is still measuring, and her emotions are still quietly testing how you will respond to the space she created. The pain she eventually feels isn't born from your words or your anger. It's born from the mirror your absence holds up to her. Because when a man refuses to beg, when he doesn't chase, when his world doesn't collapse without her, something inside her begins to crack. She expected your life to pause. Instead, it evolved. She believed she could always come back. Instead, she watches the door close. And in that moment, the illusion she once held, that you'd always be waiting, shatters. Start this journey now. And if this truth hits home, subscribe to Stoic Station for more. Drop a 1 if you've ever felt that quiet strength after being undervalued, or 2 if you're ready to embody it. And stay with me until the end, because what happens next inside her mind is far more revealing than anything she'll ever say out loud. 1. Illusion of power. It always begins with a lie she tells herself, that walking away means she's walking toward freedom. In her mind, she's leaving behind a man who needed her too much, whose world would collapse without her presence. She imagines you waiting in silence, nights stretched long and lonely, questioning your worth now that her validation is gone. And that's exactly where most men fall, crushed beneath the illusion that her detachment is proof of their insignificance. It's a painful place to be, watching her act untouched while you quietly question if you were ever enough. But here's the truth she won't admit. Even when she says she's moved on, her ego is still watching. It's measuring every second, waiting to see how quickly you break, how desperately you chase, how loudly your absence pleads for her attention. The illusion begins to crack when none of that happens. You don't beg. You don't explain. You don't orbit her anymore. And that's when the pain sets in, not from your silence, but from what it exposes. It reveals that your sense of worth was never hers to define, that the pedestal she believed she stood on existed only in her mind. The moment you refuse to play the role she expected, her illusion collapses, and the control she thought she had suddenly feels fragile, temporary, and gone. 2. The shock of your independence. Her first real shock doesn't come the day you disappear. It hits when your life keeps moving forward as if nothing's missing. She once believed that your confidence depended on her presence, that without her approval your strength would wither. That's why she could walk away so easily, certain you would chase. It's why she ignored your messages, expecting you to send more. It's why she tested you, convinced you'd prove her right by reacting. But when none of that happens, when you remain calm, focused, and unwavering, the story she built around her importance begins to crumble. Your silence no longer looks like defeat, it radiates power. And that shift unsettles her more than anything else. She used to control the rhythm of your emotions, but now she can't even influence them. She used to feel powerful because your attention orbited her, but now it fuels your growth, your purpose, your peace. The moment your worth stops depending on her recognition, her ego feels starved by the indifference it once fed on. And in that emptiness, a new question haunts her. Maybe she was never necessary at all. 3. When silence flips the script. She expected an explosion. She imagined tears, angry messages, desperate explanations, anything that would prove she still mattered. But what she didn't anticipate was the one thing that cuts deeper than all of them, your peace. A woman who once dismissed your value depends on your reaction to validate her importance. If you rage, it means she still has power. If you beg, she knows she's irreplaceable. If you explain yourself, she believes she's in control. But when you give her none of that, when you choose to live rather than react, the story she wrote in her mind starts to collapse. The silence she once mocked as weakness now feels like a verdict. Your stillness speaks a truth words never could. She is no longer the axis your world spins around. And as you begin to evolve, smiling again, walking with purpose, becoming stronger than before, she's forced to confront a reality she never prepared for. She wasn't the one who built your strength. You were. The attention that once fed her ego now fuels your ambitions. The energy that once chased her now builds the foundation of your peace. And for someone who believed she was the center of your universe, watching herself become irrelevant is a deeper wound than rejection. That's when your silence becomes the most powerful lesson of all. That drama never defined you, that closure was never hers to grant, and that your life will not pause for anyone who chose to walk away. In that calm, unshakable presence, the power dynamic reverses. She's no longer the prize but the spectator, watching the man she once underestimated rise beyond her reach. 4. The mirror of regret. One of the deepest pains she will ever feel isn't that you've changed. It's that the version of you she once knew is gone, and she no longer has access to the man you became. Her ego once fed on the way your eyes lit up when she walked into the room, on the softness in your voice when you spoke her name, on the magnetic weight your presence carried when she was near. All of it was confirmation that she mattered, that she was central to your story. But now the mirror has flipped. Your gaze is steady and neutral. Your voice carries no tremor of longing. Your energy no longer stirs in response to her presence. And when she looks into that mirror, what she sees reflected back isn't just the man you are now. It's the reality of what she lost. The wound cuts deeper when she notices that the love she once dismissed now flows freely elsewhere. It may not even be to another woman. It could be directed toward your purpose, your peace, your growth, all the things that now define you. The very traits she once belittled as boring or predictable are suddenly the foundation of someone else's admiration. This is where comparison becomes her most brutal teacher. As she watches others value the man she underestimated, her mind replays the countless moments she took you for granted. What once seemed ordinary now feels rare. What once felt guaranteed now feels gone forever. The power in this transformation is that you didn't need to punish her or orchestrate revenge. You didn't try to make her jealous. You simply redirected your value towards something bigger than her, and in doing so, you revealed it. That is what truly haunts her. Because regret doesn't always come from wanting you back. It comes from the heavy realization that she walked away from something extraordinary before she even understood its depth. And now, standing outside the life she once could have shared, she must watch it grow richer, stronger, and more beautiful without her. That mirror doesn't lie. It shows her the man she lost and the future she will never touch again. 5. The strength she can't control. The moment you stop explaining yourself is the exact moment she realizes her grip on your emotions is gone. Once upon a time, she could pull you back with a single message, a nostalgic memory, or a carefully placed question. You'd respond, trying to clarify, to defend, to prove that your intentions were pure. That was the script she counted on. Your desire to be understood was her greatest source of control. But everything changes when you stop playing that part. When you choose silence over explanation and peace over persuasion, you become someone she can no longer manipulate. She sees a man who no longer feels the need to justify his worth, and that shakes the ground beneath her confidence. The wound cuts deeper when she realizes you've forgiven her, not as an invitation to reconnect, but as a declaration of your healing. Forgiveness removes the last weapon she had, guilt. Without guilt, there is no leverage. Without leverage, there is no control. And as you grow, more grounded, more composed, more magnetic, the contrast between who you were and who you've become becomes undeniable. The uncertainty, longing and confusion she once made you feel now begin to echo within her. True strength doesn't scream for attention. It stands quietly in its own power. It guards its peace without explanation. It walks away without resentment. And in that stillness, her ego loses every foothold it once had. What hurts her most isn't that you're distant. It's that you've evolved beyond her reach. Because while she was busy seeking validation and admiration, you were building something far more powerful. A version of yourself that no one, not even her, can control. And that realization, that she no longer has influence over the man she once believed she owned, is the sting that lingers longest. 6. The pain of reversal. One day, the same coldness she once handed you so carelessly will find its way back to her, and when it does, it will cut deeper than she ever imagined. Life has a cruel yet poetic way of returning the lessons we refuse to learn, and this time the lesson is hers to feel. The woman who once made you wait for a reply will now stare at her phone, wondering why yours hasn't come. The one who once left you in emotional limbo will now question where she stands. The one who once withheld affection to test your loyalty will now crave yours desperately, and the silence will echo louder than any apology she could ever offer. That's the irony of power dynamics. They always reverse when growth enters the picture. For so long, she believed the tables would never turn. She believed that no matter how far she pushed, you'd always stay within reach. She believed your patience was permanent, your forgiveness infinite, your devotion guaranteed. But the truth is, none of those things were ever obligations. They were gifts. And like all gifts, once they are taken for granted, they stop being offered. The shift doesn't happen with fireworks or confrontation. It happens quietly, almost invisibly, as you rebuild your life piece by piece without her at the center. Your smile no longer hides sadness. It's genuine now. Your silence isn't strategic. It's peaceful. Your lack of reaction isn't revenge. It's detachment. And in that shift, she's forced to confront a truth she never considered. The world no longer revolves around her. This reversal is brutal precisely because it comes without warning. One day she wakes up and realizes the man whose life once orbited around her is now the one she's trying to read, trying to decode, trying to reach. And that's when the panic sets in. Suddenly, she's the one replaying old memories, wondering if she made a mistake. She remembers how you waited when she needed time. She remembers how you forgave when she hurt you. She remembers how you stayed patient even when she was distant and cold. And now, in the face of your absence, she realizes that none of those things were owed to her. They were acts of love, and she squandered them. The more she sees you living freely, smiling, thriving, expanding, the more she understands that her actions didn't just push you away. They built the version of you that no longer needs her. And that realization stings more deeply than rejection, because it's not about losing someone who begged to stay. It's about losing someone who outgrew the need to be chosen. It's about watching a man she once believed she controlled become someone whose peace no longer depends on her presence. And no matter how much she tries to recreate that power with someone new, it won't feel the same. Because the dynamic she had with you wasn't about control. It was about the safety and significance your love once provided. But now, the silence she once weaponized has turned into her greatest teacher. It shows her what it feels like to be left with questions instead of answers. It shows her how painful uncertainty can be when the roles are reversed. It shows her that indifference, not anger, not bitterness, not revenge, is the true end of emotional attachment. And in that mirror, she's forced to see herself not as the one with power, but as the one waiting for something that may never come. This is the final sting of the reversal. She begins to understand the depth of the pain she once caused. She sees how heavy it is to wait for someone who has already moved forward. She feels the weight of longing for a presence that no longer belongs to her. And with every unanswered message, every unreturned glance, every moment of silence, she learns the same lesson that once broke you, that love doesn't die in anger. It dies in indifference, and when it does, it leaves behind a kind of emptiness that no apology, no gesture, no regret can ever fill. That's when she finally grasps the reality she tried so hard to deny. The tables have turned, and this time, she's the one left standing in the cold. 7. The final realization. The final blow isn't the moment you walk away, it's the moment she realizes you were never coming back. That's the part no one warns her about. Not the silence, not the distance, not even the absence. It's the permanence, it's the dawning truth that she misread time. She once believed it was on her side. She believed that your love would wait, that your heart would linger in the same place where she left it, that no matter how far she wandered, she could always return when she was ready. That illusion kept her comfortable. It allowed her to play games, to test your patience, to take her time. But time never stopped moving, and while she was standing still, it was forging you into someone she no longer recognized. As the months stretch on, something begins to shift. Every quality she once dismissed now becomes the same quality others celebrate. Your patience, which she called boring, is now admired as rare emotional maturity. Your calm, which she once mistook for passivity, is seen as strength. Your discipline, which she found predictable, is now respected as leadership. And your heart, the one she took for granted, is now valued as something precious. With every compliment you receive, with every new opportunity that unfolds, with every person who sees what she refused to, a quiet truth echoes in her mind. She underestimated you. She undervalued something extraordinary, and the world did not. But by the time that realization hits, it's too late. The door she once walked through so easily is closed now, not slammed shut in anger, not locked with resentment, but sealed gently with peace. And that peace terrifies her more than any grudge ever could. Because peace means you no longer care whether she returns. Peace means the story she thought she could pause and resume at will has continued without her. Peace means she's no longer part of the future she once assumed she'd own. It's in those quiet hours, late at night, alone with her thoughts, that the weight of what she's lost begins to settle in. It's not just you she's missing. It's the safety of knowing she was loved deeply and without conditions. It's the loyalty of someone who showed up even when it wasn't convenient. It's the rare kind of love that asked for nothing and gave everything. That is the kind of love she believed she could replace, but now she understands. It wasn't replaceable. It was singular. And it's gone. Even as she smiles for the world, even as she fills her days with new people, new distractions, new validations, the truth lingers beneath the surface. The truth she'll never speak aloud. Better doesn't mean deeper. New doesn't mean more meaningful. And excitement fades, but peace endures. That's the part that gnaws at her. Because while she might have found someone new to occupy her time, she hasn't found the depth that once anchored her. And the harder she tries to recreate it, the more she realizes that it wasn't the relationship itself that was special. It was you. And then comes the heaviest part of all. The realization that while she has spent months trying to forget you, you have spent none of that time trying to remember her. The thing that hurts her most isn't your absence, it's your wholeness. It's the way you rebuilt yourself without bitterness. It's the way you stopped needing validation. It's the way you turned your pain into power, your heartbreak into purpose, your silence into strength. You didn't just move on, you transcended. And that truth is unbearable for someone who always believed she would hold some piece of you forever. Now, every time your name is mentioned, it stirs something heavy in her chest. Every time she hears about your success, your peace, your happiness, it reminds her of what she lost and how easily she let it slip away. She may never admit it, but she will think of you often. She will replay moments in her mind, wondering what would have happened if she had chosen differently, wondering if she would still have a place in your life if she had valued you when it mattered. But the past does not bend to regret. The story does not rewind. And the man she remembers, the one who waited, who explained, who would have given her the world, no longer exists. In his place stands someone wiser, stronger, more complete, someone who no longer defines his worth by being chosen, someone who chooses himself, and that's the truth that will haunt her the longest. In the end, she will spend far longer remembering you than you ever spent missing her. She will carry the weight of your absence in ways you will never see, in quiet moments of reflection, in fleeting pangs of regret, in the silence between her smiles. And though she may never say it, she will know deep down that losing you wasn't just losing a man. It was losing a chance at something rare, something steady, something real. Time didn't erase your worth, it revealed it. And when the final realization hits, she'll understand that she didn't just watch you leave, she watched you rise, she watched you evolve into everything she once dreamed of, and more. And that knowledge, more than anything else, is the ache she will carry for the rest of her life. Brother, here's what I want you to take from everything we've just walked through. Not as a story of pain, but as a strategy for power. Most men collapse under the illusion that her leaving is the end of their worth. They beg, they explain, they chase, all because they believe her detachment is proof they were never enough. But the truth is the opposite. Every stage of her emotional spiral begins when you stop doing those things. The moment you refuse to orbit her, the illusion breaks. The moment you stop needing her approval, the control she believed she had dissolves. And the second your silence turns from weakness into strength, the balance shifts permanently. This journey is not about getting revenge or making her regret. It's about becoming untouchable. Your independence shakes the foundation of her ego. Your calm flips the script she wrote in her head. Your growth turns her comparisons into regret. And your peace becomes the one thing she can't manipulate. Over time, the pain she once caused you circles back to her, not because you planned it, but because you outgrew the version of yourself who once needed her validation to feel whole. The lesson is this: love is not about proving your worth to someone blind to it. It's about knowing your value so deeply that their recognition becomes irrelevant. If she undervalued you, that's her story to wrestle with, not yours to fix. Your story is about rising. It's about building a life so rich and grounded that anyone who leaves becomes a spectator, not a loss. And when that final realization hits, when she sees that time didn't erase you but revealed you, she'll understand what she truly lost. But by then, you won't be waiting. You'll be too busy living. In the end, brother, this isn't just a story about her. It's a story about you. It's about the man you become when you stop chasing validation, when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop believing that love is something you must beg for. It's about rising from what tried to break you and becoming someone whose peace is too valuable to be disturbed. The truth is, Her regret is not the prize. Your growth is. And the moment you understand that, everything changes. Because the power was never in her leaving. It was always in how you chose to respond. If what you've heard today opened your eyes, if you recognized even a single sign in your own story, then you're already further ahead than you realize. Now it's time to take the next step. Like this video and subscribe to Stoic Station so you never miss the lessons that will keep building your strength. And I want to hear from you. Have you seen these signs in your own life? Drop your thoughts or comments below, and let's continue this journey of reclaiming your peace, rebuilding your power, and becoming the man you were always meant to be. The story isn't over. It's just getting started.